Hey, hey! What's up, everybody? I feel like I should wake everybody up at the beginning of the podcast. What's going on? You're listening to and or watching the Frustrated Grad podcast in living color, live in HD. I'm your
Do
host
what you wanna do.
in living color. In living color. I'm your host, Keenan Ivory
For our
Wayans.
older listeners,
Yeah. Like, what are they referencing? Where can I I'm gonna sound like drunk uncle. Like, can is this Snapchat vegan? Whatever he always mixes his metaphors. Anyway, I'm your host, Zach Hughes, the black dude with bad news and uh, only one emotion, which is the meh face. And I'm welcoming my co-host, writer, movie fan, wrestling fan, big fan of the poop emoji, Tony Hoffman.
as everyone is. How's it going, Zach?
I'm doing good. How was your week this week? Sounds like you were very busy yesterday, specifically. But
Oh
overall, how was
yeah,
your week?
yeah, yeah. My ass got a workout sitting on the couch
Yeah, like,
watching television.
yeah, you're practicing those impression exercises, like left cheek, right cheek, and
Good cheek.
constantly trying to make that impression into the couch.
Make that booty work.
Yeah. So, how was the rest of the week? Was it as action packed as that?
Yeah, pretty much. I didn't go to the movies,
You didn't see the
so I could.
Emoji Movie?
Yeah, I know, right? So
What are you doing?
I'm so disappointed in myself.
Yeah. Um, my week was it was all right. I did see a movie, and it was
In the theater?
yeah, in the theater, and I actually paid full
Ah,
price on a Wednesday, and it was packed. I was surprised, but like I guess I shouldn't have been. The movie I saw was Girls Trip,
yeah.
and as you would expect, it was a very interactive audience.
You
It's
don't
the
go
best way to
ahead,
put it.
girl.
Like, yeah, girl. Oh no, I'm not with that bullshit. It's like, wow. It's like a single. It's just like every 5 minutes, my wife and I would just look at each other like, yeah, I heard it.
Let me ask you, did they applaud at the end? I hate that shit. I hate that so
um,
much.
I think there was like a pivotal moment, like in the finale time period where the people were like, yeah, ooh. It
But
was something like that, pretty much.
they can't hear you when you applaud. The cast and the directors and the
They're
crew.
long gone, and
This isn't like a
thousands of
live
miles away.
stage show.
Maybe this that should be the who they market to. Those those like Fathom events that they film live and play in some theaters. They should really have like they should do like Tyler Perry plays that way. Then it's more likely where you'd be like, okay, this seems like I'm supposed to yell out because this is a live thing going on, even though they still can't hear you. But they needed something more interactive. They needed somebody like to show up with a beach ball. They're like the equivalent of the Raw after WrestleMania crowd for movies.
God damn it.
Despite
So I
all
think
that, I enjoyed the movie. It was pretty good.
is
I
a
gave it
Tiffany
4.5 out of 5 grapefruits. Actually,
is a Tiffany Haddish the newest comedian of our generation.
I mean, in not so hyperbolic terms, I thought she was the breakout star clearly. But the one thing that I was distracted by, and I talked about this in my review, I was like, they're supposed to be old college friends, but she's at least 10 years younger than all of them. So that
Yeah.
was the distraction. Even especially when they like do like the flashback and they're all like dancing in like kid and play outfits. I was just like, I think she was like in elementary school during this time, but like at least they said it was college and not they didn't go to high school together. So it was like, some of them were might have just been old students, and maybe she was a prodigy that like decided to do lots of drugs after college. Either way,
Yeah.
I separated myself from that. the reality of the situation soon after. As soon as the grapefruits got involved, uh, and
You were out.
then I was no, fully invested at that point. Because if are you familiar with the famous grapefruiting video?
No, I am not.
It's a
Enlighten me.
it's a video demonstration that's just um, family friendly enough to stay on YouTube, involving oral sex. It's like, oh, here's how you really get your man off. You get a grapefruit, and put it around his dick, and then you suck. I guess it's a technique for people who can't uh, who can't get all the way down there without being very explicit. For I guess it's how you're supposed to handle a larger individual. So
Good
in
to
this
know.
in this movie, somebody needed two grapefruits. So, and then still things didn't go exactly right. But before that, there was a demonstration of how to do the grapefruit, which was which was pretty fun. Anyway, I don't want to
Anyway.
spoil Girls Trip. You know, Girls
Oh
Trip
no, you
spoilers
couldn't
are
possibly.
it's the worst thing about Twitter is Girls Trip spoilers like everywhere. Like I'm just trying to find out who died on Game of Thrones. Stop throwing these Girls Trip spoilers in my face. Jesus. Like trending every day. Girls Trip. Hashtag
So you
Girls
know the
Trap. A Girls Trip post credit scenes. This is like all over the place.
so you know what this means. Like whenever there's even like a semi-successful quote unquote black film, there's gonna be like a sequel and then another sequel.
I mean, it's just like, or even beyond like the studio implications after the fact. It's just like whenever these things come out and you see the any of them that have a red band trailer, like, oh, it's the black hangover, it's the female hangover. It's like, fuck the hangover. I hated that movie. There's
The
nothing
Black
special.
Rough Night.
Yeah, that was the one that I saw around that time because those trailers both came out around the same time. But it's like, okay, they're both black or white equivalents of each other, even though Zoe Kravitz was in it. So I guess she's the bridge between the two movies, maybe, because she's like, hey, I'm me. Like, no, you're in a white movie, according to the internet. But so, like, they both compared those to the Hangover, but I feel like Girls Trip is more Hangover, Rough Night is more Weekend at Bernie's. But I like them both better than The Hangover.
I've never seen any of those Hangover movies from start to finish.
I've seen the first one and it was nothing special. And I was like, oh, this is the highest grossing R-rated movie, or R-rated comedy. And then I don't know how they would classify
It still
Deadpool,
is.
but I think I know Deadpool would pass them as the highest grossing R-rated movie. Whether or not you want to call that
All
a
these stupid
comedy or not is,
signifiers.
yeah, it's like, hey, this is the highest grossing movie in July or June. Well, I guess July would be a big one to claim like was biggest summer blockbuster of all time if that's the classifier. But like all these other like weird things like to come out on a day with an odd number in a in July, but whatever. But I
Yeah,
enjoyed it regardless. It also felt bigger than it did. It was like it felt like back in the day when I went to see like Waiting to Exhale. It's like, hey, I haven't seen a theater full of black women in a long time.
yeah. I remember that. That seemed like there was more sort of hype and run up to that
Yeah,
movie coming out.
yeah. And I was saying in my review, I was like, I guess maybe that's the Jada and Will of it all. It's like made it seem more important. It's like they had
I think
gravitas.
I think that with like Waiting to Exile, you had the book, and everyone had
Yeah,
it
it
was a
was a lot of
bestseller.
it was a lot of like this is for you. Like they knew what their audience was and they came out
And
for
you
it.
had the Angela Bassett like lighting her husband's car on fire scene and
Yeah,
like the trick in the commercials and
it was a
shit.
big crowd pleasing moment that pulled people out. Like, oh girl, I gotta go see that. It also taught me like I learned a lot about black women in this movie. Like the major setting of it. Like I knew they were going to New Orleans, but they were also going to the Essence Festival. Like, and I
Yeah.
know people that go to it every year, but I haven't ever seen like footage of it. It's like Wow, it's a black woman mecca. This is like I think that was the most black women I've seen on screen in any movie ever. Like it's probably if somebody from Guinness wanted to do a check, they probably have broken the record. Like most black women in a motion picture. Yeah, because it's just like real footage from the Essence Festival. Like these clearly aren't extras. They could not afford all of these thousands of people in the background. But yeah, so it was cool and a lot of music. And you get to see Mariah Carey actually moving around on stage for like
It's unique.
half a minute. Yeah, if you've seen her routine, it's getting like posted on Facebook a lot recently. It's like yeah, she like moves side to
Fat heifer
side, and then
ass.
somebody picks her up and puts her on to the back of a bunch of sailors, and then that's the end of the routine, pretty much. But
Hey, I have a question. Have you seen? Do you watch the show Queen Sugar that I've heard about?
I've only watched the see. It's funny that you mentioned that because I've had a weird thing in my head where I haven't gone back to watch anymore. I've watched the first two episodes, and then I actually watched the first two episodes of Greenleaf. But in my head, I cannot differentiate which show is which because it's like okay, Queen Sugar is about a woman who's have you seen it yourself?
I just know that Rutina Wesley from True Blood's on it.
Yeah. Okay,
I know
so
nothing about the show.
here's why I'm stuck and I have this mental block. And it's specifically like the past 2 weeks I've been like, wait, which is which? But okay, it's about a woman who's married to this famous basketball player, and he cheats on her. So she's struggling with what to do about that as she goes back to her family home, and all of her family members are like poorer than her, and she's going back for a family funeral. That's the first episode, the gist of how this whatever is going to happen kicks off. And Greenleaf is a show about a woman who used to be a, a pastor who is apparently she's a single mother, and she's going back to her family home because of a family funeral, and then she's struggling with the idea of whether or not to get back into the church, their family church. And it's like I keep thinking of elements of one show, and it's like, wait, which one is? Because like the guy from Girls Trip was in Queen Sugar. Because I was trying to think, I was like, which show is he in? Because like I said, I keep forgetting which one is which, but I think he's the guy from Queen Sugar because I think that's the more current show. But yeah, I've had that. I've been struggling with that. That's why I didn't. I was talking about what the notable, uh, what you call it, the supporting cast in Girls Trip when I was talking about my review, and I was like, I just skipped him because I knew I was going to say the wrong show. But also somebody who I'm glad he was in the movie, but Mike Coulter, I was disappointed with his
Uh,
role. He's just like a cheating man. I was like,
Come
I was
on,
like, Luke Cage is better than this. like Luke,
Power Man.
like Luke is a faithful, stoic man. He's not a cheater. Um, Even though he like hooked up with this white private investigator shortly after his wife was murdered, but
Uh,
by the same said investigator. Spoiler alert. Um, but yeah, I thought Luke deserved better than that. That's all I know him from. I've never seen him on The Good Wife or whatever else he was on. So it's just like no, Mike or Luke. Anyway, uh,
I
in other movie news,
oh, you want to talk about the box office or just one movie specifically?
yeah, a big steaming poop on Rotten Tomatoes was left by the
I,
Emoji Movie.
I wanted it to get to keep the 0%, but then people had to ruin it to give
Yeah,
it good reviews.
you know, it's
Like
trolls out
even
there
like the
for
good
everything.
the quote unquote good reviews. Like if you actually go to Rotten Tomatoes and click on the link to the reviews, it's not really a good review.
Just like Here's a nugget in this poop emoji.
It's like they kind of say something that you could construe as being complimentary, but it's
Yeah,
not really.
it's flawed system. Like I feel like in like now that we have things like the Razzie Awards or whatever, that would for a certain audience that could be a selling point. Like we have a perfect zero on Rotten Tomatoes, and it would I think certain
Hell
people would
yeah,
just be like, yeah, I'm going to see that.
I gotta see that.
I'm down for
Gotta
a
see.
bad movie. Like they are making a biopic about the making of The Room, which is supposed to be the worst movie ever. So like you can sell your movie on being bad.
Oh, hi, Mark.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa. Like all I know is just those clips. I've seen those individual clips, but like whatever I hear about the movie, it's just like, nah, I'm good. It is
I've got to
also
sit down and actually watch it one of these days.
I can't do it. Plus, just the main guy is like his face is just so disturbing
It looks
looking.
like a, I know, right?
It's like a melting wax figure. That's one thing that takes me out of a lot of movies, and I don't understand why actors don't get this, or actors and actresses. It's just like your if you want to be an actor, you need to be able to emote and have facial expressions. So like Nicole Kidman is a great actress, but like when she's supposed to be like a real person in a movie, like I'm this Midwestern wife and I'm going through all this trouble. It's like why do you have how did you get all that money for that plastic surgery? It's just like
Botox.
pulls yeah, it just pulls me out. It's just like, okay, like I would believe this family drama if mom didn't look like she spent like hours under a heat lamp or something. It's just like it doesn't it doesn't match. But you know, suspend your disbelief. Like one of these members of the family is a wax sculpture. Don't pay attention to why. They're yes, they're supposed to be financially destitute, even though she has thousands of dollars stapled to her
That's
face.
why on Mad Men they specifically didn't want actresses that had breast implants on this show.
That makes sense. It's like big naturals is what it was all about. Like, hey, what are those things? Like in that era, somebody would just stand there like, hey, broad, what are you hiding in your shirt? It's just like, seriously, like that doesn't work. Uh, that's why I like to see uh, Joan in more stuff because she's like, I miss those.
Yeah.
Anyway, um, oh,
So,
in other semi-related movie news, I had a interesting thing happen. Um, you know, there's a string of restaurants in our area, in the Chicagoland area. For anybody who's not in this area, um, I would call them um, D'Angelo Boulevard restaurants. Uh, but you know, it's just basically a mom and pop place where you can get the Italian beef sandwiches and hot dogs. But at this particular D'Angelo Boulevard establishment that I went to this past week, I saw something interesting. It's funny. It was like a cross section of like I always think it's weird when like guys are outside of buildings like trying to sell bootleg DVDs because it's like, well, I know exactly the copy of the movie that is on your DVD because I've seen it on torrent sites or whatever. So
exactly.
it's like you're stuck in the past.
It
But
has that little watermark that says,
yeah,
like
like
do
Ellen
not.
DeGeneres. This copy is specifically for her. But so like I like seeing what I saw at this restaurant because like oh it's showing somebody coming into the present day, but they still aren't quite equipped for this. So like the person when I was coming into the restaurant, the guy as we were ordering, he was turning like I guess he has like one of those uh either he has a like a PC connected to the TV behind the wall or something, or he has one of those little like mini PCs. But he was going to some site and he started playing whatever the War for the Planet of the Apes. It just started playing. You can see it's extra grainy and it's the bootleg version. but he like can't figure out how to get it to go full screen. So you just see the page and the movie's playing in the middle of it. You see like putlocker.com slash
Like
whatever.
the browser.
Yeah, and then like so then as we're waiting for the food, he comes back and is like trying to mess with the remote again. I guess it's like a mouse remote or whatever, and he's trying to figure out where to click on the screen. But then, those sites, they obviously have links for pop-ups and hidden
Pop up.
things. And then all of a sudden, like it was like almost right before we were leaving, they were putting our food together. Then I just hear, "Ooh, you can only play this game if you're over 18." Just like I just broke out laughing. I was like, "Shut up! You're gonna spit in our food." Like, how could I help? It was just like that's not what you expect when you go to a restaurant to hear a porn pop up. But I just thought that was funny as I was leaving. I couldn't stop thinking about that as I ate my giant hot links. It was like, this is quite appropriate.
They should have just kept. They should just run it
Yeah, that
routinely
could be
every
a
day.
niche. Like, this is the porn restaurant. It's like this is how we market ourselves.
All the new
Um,
customers they could attract.
yeah, um, yeah, but th- that that was a selling point for me. It was like, oh, if this is what's going on, I'll be back next week. Um, anyway, I could have told them like I have a couple sites that are more reliable than that, but I didn't want to expose myself. Like, you know what, you should go to,
You
and
didn't
then
want to
I'm like,
expose yourself in more ways than one.
yeah, I'm already going home thinking about this porn pop up as I'm trying to find a non-sexual way to eat a giant hot link sandwich. So uh, that's my struggle. Anyways, speaking of porn, uh, whatever happened to Jamie Foxworth from
From Family Matters.
yeah. Is she gonna come back in this is in this TGIF revival? Like, okay, so
Uh,
TGIF is coming back. What does that exactly mean? It's just a Friday block of comedies, or are there specific shows from like our era that are returning?
they've acquired the rights for the old episodes, and they're just gonna air them. Uh,
That ain't nothing.
yeah. What did you think? Did you think they were actually gonna like reboot?
I mean, if they did that, that would be the highest ratings any network has gotten in like the past 10 years.
It's Fuller House.
Yeah, like imagine Fuller House coming out on ABC. That would probably be a huge premiere, and then it would probably drop off precipitously afterwards. But the networks need like stuff like that. There's no real appointment TV anymore. I guess unless
Nah.
you're a sports fan, which I am not.
Yeah. Hulu. They've acquired the rights to all those old shows. Full House, Family Matters, Step by Step, Perfect Strangers, and Hanging with Mr. Cooper, set to hit Hulu on September the 29th. The only show that they didn't get that people are a little upset about is fucking Boy Meets World.
Fuck Boy Meets World. I like a lot of people my age were much bigger on that than I was. Just like this show is stupid. Topanga's cute, but like, what else does this have?
It's
Uh,
not a. I think it's because Warner Brothers like didn't produce it, so they couldn't get the. It's not part of the package deal.
okay.
So
So, like, how does that work exactly on Hulu? I know they have live TV now. So, do they just have? Is there going to be a TGIF channel, or is there a channel that's going to have like these shows just running every Friday? Like, what is?
I just think that I just think that this headline is misleading. It's just that you can watch them anytime you want.
Okay, so they're just going to be available on demand.
Yeah,
That's not TGIF. TGIF was about
yeah.
sitting there in front of your television.
But you
It
could
was
do
an
that
appointment.
yourself.
Yeah, it was an appointment. That was actual appointment television.
That's not TGIF.
Not my hashtag not my TGIF. um, because
You could
like
just you could watch them like in any order you want.
yeah, it's like this is like for people who are real fans of those shows. You're like, yeah, I have been watching. Don't worry about me. I'm covered. Cause TGIF, like TGIF and Snick were two big days for me. Like I went to school all week, and I saved my allowance. So I know specifically when Snick came on,
Yeah.
I would go in. I would walk to the KFC that ended up being my first job, but I would walk there and get a 20-piece order of those like honey barbecue like
Damn.
mini wings, and then I would get one of
That
those
sounds
chocolate
good.
cakes they used to have, with the white
Those
frosting.
bunt cakes.
Yeah,
The
and I would get that and I would eat it all my entirely by myself.
big chunk of chocolate.
I I ate 20 of those honey barbecue wings and a whole chocolate cake by myself every Saturday.
This is the roundhouse.
Yeah, I became pretty round in the house by practicing that
Yeah.
ritual.
I think I was more excited about Snick than I was about fucking TGI.
Yeah, because TGIF was always like, okay, I like this show,
Goofy
not this
family
show.
comedy. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like
I'll
I didn't
skip
watch
over
all of
this.
those. Like,
Like step by step was meh.
yeah, like I don't. I think I saw more step by step like in reruns when they would play it like on channel 50. That's when
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would
yeah.
actually see it. But like I wasn't a fan of step by step. Not really. I mean, I watched Boy Meets World, but it's not nothing special when I look back on it. It was about family matters. I didn't really think. I guess hanging with Mr. Cooper was that part of TGIF?
That was more of like a. I think of that more as like a Tuesday, like
Yeah, I
middle
felt
of the
like.
week for me.
I mean, I guess I saw the most of it in reruns, so I don't know. I didn't have that connection with it as being a TGIF show.
I think it
But
came on TGI maybe briefly. I don't know.
yeah, because it was like I watched more of it like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, like after coming home from school. So I don't know when the original run was. Um,
Ooh, Cooper,
hanging with
yo,
my
ooh,
man.
you're on.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so like really the main highlight because I can't even think like I guess Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I watched that, but like
I like that. Yeah, the
yeah,
first like couple of seasons that was a good show. That
yeah.
and like that and Clueless, the TV version of
Was
Clueless.
Clueless on TGF? I felt like that was a
Yeah,
UPN show.
it was on. That was after when it got canceled.
Okay, so it
Yeah.
came back on UPN. All right, UPN. That's the real gold mine that they should revisit. Like, where's my Homeboys in Outer Space reboot? Like,
Shasta McNasty.
I I only remember was that Jake Busey?
Yeah.
Yeah, with spiky hair. Uh, I don't think I ever watched that show. I just
Oh, I
remember
just know the
thinking
name.
like, yeah, it was like that name is interesting. But I watched Homeboys in Outer Space for however long, however many episodes it was on. I watched that.
Did you
Uh,
watch the Secret Diaries of Desmond the Pfeiffer?
that sounds familiar. Was it? What was that exactly?
He was the slave, and Abraham Lincoln was like the president. It was like a comedy. It was
I remember outrage. That
Chai
was
McBride.
that was like an early precursor to internet outrage. It was like this
Yeah,
is horrible. Like I remember that, but I don't think I ever watched it. Um, but yeah, UPN was just like an interesting little thing that fizzled out. I mean, that's where we got was I think they started on UPN. Was it where the Wayans brothers started? Then they
uh,
transitioned into WB.
it was always on the WB,
Was it
wasn't it?
okay? Because I was trying to think, it fit in with that lineup so well, so it makes me think
Um,
of it that way.
what was the name? The show with LL Cool J
In the house,
in
I
the
wa-
house that started on NBC and then it went to UP.
that was another one I watched a lot on reruns.
Me
Like
too.
there was a
Me
lot
too.
of like just straight up adult sitcoms that just played after school when I came home. Just like I just watched it. Like I would watch Seinfeld every day after school. Roseanne. Uh, Now you have to search for those. It's like okay, go to either one of those dash two channels on the local satellite. I mean local
Digital.
antenna
Yeah.
television, or uh, find them on like TBS or something. But
I can't believe we haven't even mentioned Moesha and
Mo
fucking.
to the I was thinking about that UPN. That's another classic UPN show. And then the Parkers,
The
the
Parker.
spinoff of Moesha, because it was so ripe for a spinoff. Where you going? I'm going to a party. Um, that was the main thing I remember from the Parkers.
And they were all morbidly obese, diabetic.
Yeah, we're the Parkers. Anyway, uh,
Anyway.
Black TV memories.
And of course, you always had your SmackDown.
Yeah, SmackDown on UPN. Uh, then I think what did it go to My Network TV because it didn't go to the WB. Uh, yeah, I think they moved over to My Network TV. Then eventually, finally made it to cable. But yeah, I remember SmackDown was the show for my Mexican friends because they didn't have cable. That's what I think. That's a major reason why they had like, if you check out SmackDown audiences from the past, there was a lot of Mexican people in the audience, and I think Rey Mysterio was he was on SmackDown for a while at that time. But anyways,
Anyways, do you remember there was a Family Matters episode where like I think Laura was like doing like a Black History thing or something, and like
oh
the somebody had vandalized the Black History thing that she put up, and like they spray painted like I don't know, they spray painted the word nigger on her locker, or it was one of those like very special
yeah, that
episodes about race.
that was one of the, like they. I remember they did a few like very special episodes. Like, did Carl get shot at some point, or there was like
He got
it
beat.
was
They beat the shit out of him. That was the
okay,
when Rachel's diner or something got trashed.
yeah, and it was
Gangs. That was so funny when he walked it out, beat up and bloody shit.
yeah, it's just like weird. Like it always really took me out of the show when they would do it on Family Matters because I'm just like, wow, this is like, and it's
It's
funny because
too
they went from being like a legit sitcom to being just a sci-fi show, like
perfect
in
strangers
the
spinoff.
same era of like Sabrina the Teenage Witch. It was just like, okay, let's transform into another person.
That
Um,
Urkel heat.
yes, Stefan Urkel, and then there was Myrtle Urkel.
Myrtle.
It was like it was like
Drag.
was that pre Shanae?
Yeah. That might have been after actually.
Really,
I think
Myrtle Urkel.
Martin was like 92, 93 ish.
That's true, man. I when I had cable, that was an interesting thing about tuning into MTV2. Now that they've just become like black sitcom channel, like they play Martin all the time, and I think they play Wayans Brothers. So it's just like, all right, like they were really dedicated to making sure none of their MTV channels are about music. Just like I thought MTV2 was supposed to be the music channel now. Like nope, nah. Go to Thrace. Maybe you'll see some Spanish English music or MTV Jams. Eventually MTV Jams will just be showing biopics about musicians.
Have
Um
you had the opportunity to watch MTV Classic, where they air nothing but like '90s
no,
videos and
is it similar to VH1 Classic? 'Cause I know that was a channel I avoided like the plague. Um,
why? Didn't like
like
pop up video and behind the music.
felt like it was always playing like Bruce Springsteen or something
Oh,
white whenever I turned
sure,
to it. I was just
sure.
like, no, thank
Gotcha.
you.
Okay.
Um, just a working girl, or whatever the damn song. Um,
Born in the USA.
I feel like John Cena should have come out to that at Battleground because it's just like, hey, America, apple pie. This is what I'm all about. I'm fighting all the foreigners. Um,
John Cougar Mellencamp.
John Cougar Mellencamp Cena. Uh, anyways, what else is going on in the present day? Let's just get out of
Oh,
classic territory,
why do we
moving out
have
of the
to live in the
past.
present
I
day?
mean, okay, let's live in the past. What's going on with Nintendo?
Well, Nintendo. Well, it kind of isn't the past. It's the
All right.
Nintendo. They've introduced like another fucking uh, DS or whatever you want to call it. It's called
What's the name
it's
of it?
it's actually called the new 2DS XL.
Uh, Don't they already have a 3DS? So we're going backwards.
I believe they do, but I guess what's so unique about the new 2DS XL is that it's only $150, so it's the least expensive of all of these systems.
All right, now
Uh,
I'm
you
listening.
you get new handy improvements like a more accessible micro SD card slot, a more compact body with smaller bezels, whatever the hell that is,
Bezels.
bezels.
I guess like
Uh,
the fat edges around the screen. Like, hey, I want screen on my screen instead of black bars.
a power adapter that actually comes packed in the box, something that you
Great.
won't get with the purchase of the new 3DS or the 3DS XL,
You had to buy it separately.
I guess.
Son of a bitch. What
And
a racket.
but what might be the best thing about the new 2DS XL is what you're not playing it for. Nintendo's gimmicky 3D graphics tech.
Awesome.
Amusingly, amusingly, the 3DS's 3D tech never actually worked that well and was often the fastest path to a headache this side of the Virtual Boy.
Yeah, and I think it drains your battery faster too. Um, so this is a this is a moderate improvement by taking away things that weren't necessary. Uh,
But
yeah,
yeah, but they're also introducing the new 3DS and they still have the 3DS XL.
all right. So I know that I'm not buying a 5-year-old product by looking for the word new.
The
Got it.
main advantage the main advantage of the new 3DS systems is an upgraded processor that lets you play more demanding games like Xenoblade Chronicles 3D and the SNES Virtual Console ports such as F-Zero and The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. But since the new 2DS XL can handle those games too, that's not much of a feather in its cap.
All right. So you giveth, then you taketh away with the compliments. It's like, yeah, it's not that special after all. All right.
I swear.
Um. So yeah, I mean that virtual console sounds good. I'm always interested in playing my old games again. So I guess to the past we go once again.
Yeah, it's like I'm still like lazy at this point. Like I don't feel like actually like hooking up the console, to the
Yeah.
TV. Like I want to play like those old SNES games on like a handheld device
Yeah.
on my
Plus,
phone
like
before.
with those diminished graphics, it's just like it's better to have this closer to my face anyway, because
God.
I don't want to miss any of those Goombas. Uh, yeah, I feel like this. It's weird because like you would think that this is like stepping on the Switch's toes, but I guess they considered them different things.
Yeah, because these are like old games, really. That they're
Yeah, because it's like they all. It means, like, isn't it true that the like from the DS to this new 2DS XL, they still all play those same DS games?
I believe so.
Yeah, so it's like weird that you're buying a new console to play your games that you already have potentially. Just like, okay, now it'll run better on this thing. It's kind of an odd way to sell it. But I guess that's better than the Apple way of being like, throw out everything. No, start
Gonna
over.
buy this whole new one. It's only compatible on this.
Yeah, you can't even charge it with your old cords. Throw that shit out. It's like, all right. Um,
Uh, I have a question. Are you a big McDonald's McNugget fan?
um, kind of. What's the word for the opposite of a fan?
Not a fan.
Yeah, I'm that.
A hater.
Yes. I'm not.
They
I've
just
never
don't.
been a fan of pink slime. Like once
They
I
don't
saw that, I
taste.
was like done. Like all
They
right.
don't taste like anything. It's like,
The only time I've had McDonald's nuggets in the past, like I've had them maybe
somebody was
once in the
like,
past like 5 years.
somebody was giving them to you. They didn't want them.
Somebody was throwing them at me from a car, and one landed in my mouth. Um, no, I got a Happy Meal, and it said, "What kind of Happy Meal?" And this question floored me. I was like, "What do you mean, what kind of Happy Meal? The kind for kids?" And they're like, "What do you want, a cheeseburger or a McNugget Happy Meal? what do you want? I was like, oh, I guess a McNugget, Happy Meal. I'll try them just because I wanted the Super Mario toys they had in there. But
But
yeah, there's still nothing special.
I mentioned it because the McDonald's chicken sauce
Oh,
at
the Szechuan sauce,
Szechuan sauce,
the
the limited
subject of a
edition.
Rick and Morty season 3 premiere, I think.
Yeah, the limited edition dipping sauce that was briefly available in the summer of 1998 as a promotion for Disney's
Mulan,
Mulan
yeah,
is apparently making a comeback because of Justin Roland from the co-creator of Rick and Morty. Apparently, like
yeah. It was like the whole plot of the season 3 premiere episode. Like he had to go back in time to get that Szechuan sauce, which I'm very behind on Rick and Morty, but I look forward to seeing that episode.
yeah,
But
a
like
bunch
thinking
of
about, it's just weird. But thinking back on the fact that that was a promotional item for Mulan is like that retroactively. That's pretty racist. It's like why did it's like
what are they? Well, okay, how is it racist per se? I'm just
I mean
devil's advocate.
it's a movie about a heroic uh what was she Chinese heroine. She was a warrior in ancient
You
China.
had to decide between Japan or China.
I haven't seen Mulan in a decade at least. But like, so you have this heroic figure, and you're gonna celebrate her by minimizing her to the bare essentials of what we know about her culture, like Chinese food, Szechuan sauce. It's like, all
Which
right,
one?
that's great.
I'm
Like,
thinking like what are their angles that they had gone to tie in with their food and the
I mean,
movie?
were they gonna have like a promotional catfish sandwich for the the Black Princess movie, The Princess and the Frog? Uh,
That tastes good, man. It wasn't like po' boy sandwich or like some gumbo.
or I'm trying to think what was some of their other ones for Mulan? You're just gonna have like a whole pig uh,
A whole
served in the
cat.
drive-through. Whole cat. What for Mulan? Or we're going back to Mulan. That's perfect. You know what? That you know what the Szechuan sauce isn't racist. You've won up.
As
Congratulations.
usual.
Uh,
Thousands of fans petitioned McDonald's, and they sent a single bottle of it sold for $14,000
Jesus
on
Christ.
eBay.
This just like when
And
I've looked up the Big Mac sauce in the past because apparently they had a short run of selling it in stores and I don't think they do it anymore. But like I've seen that on eBay or Amazon for like $200 for one bottle. It's just like get out of here. I can go get a sandwich for like $5 or $6 and just scrape the sauce off myself. Uh,
is that shit even good? Is it even edible at
I
this point?
mean, I I mean, you're talking about the ones that they're reselling. I mean, it probably has so many preservatives that it'll last until the apocalypse because it's
Just like
just
their
like
burgers.
yeah, you can sprinkle that sauce on a rock hard burger and eat it while the zombies take over outside your bunker. But I like what is this their special Szechuan sauce even taste like? Is it any different than regular Szechuan sauce? Like
I don't know.
oh, it's extra McDonald'sy. Like you think about the Big Mac sauce is what is it? Just Thousand Island dressing with relish in it. Is there
You
anything?
always like somebody always posting fucking recipe
Yeah,
where
like
they
here's how
think
you
they
make the
know.
sauce. It's like it just makes me think of Ed's sauce from Good Burger. He's like, at first add some lemon juice, a little ketchup, and they're always trying to stop it from giving away the recipe. Uh, it's like the Bush's baked beans, dog. Um, yeah.
I
So,
just want my mighty wings. I remember being like a little kid and
oh,
I
I
got some
remember the
mighty.
Mighty
They were
Wings.
so damn good, but I know that if I eat them today, they won't be as good.
No,
I want to
probably
keep that
not.
memory.
Although, like, I feel like they had better, like, quality standards back then. It was like more consistent.
1993.
Yeah, because at least you wouldn't get like every other chicken sandwich tasting like a rubber ball. It's like, okay, oh, I ran into a big chunk of gristle in this sandwich. Congratulations. I'm not hungry anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
You got him because like Michael Jordan was like endorsing them, and the Bulls were in the
yeah,
finals.
Mighty Wings. Yeah, they don't really go too far outside the box anymore. Like, okay, we sell burgers and one salad now because they used to have a bunch of salads. And they're like, no, we have one salad. You want the
Mm.
Southwest salad or you want nothing? It's like, well, I guess I want that.
Apparently, they had like a pizza thing in like the '80s or something before.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's just like people were just like, "Hey, what do people like? We're gonna sell everything," and then they realize like, yeah, you know what? We have an audience for a reason. Like we should stick to our audience
So what
because
you're saying is that you've never had Burger King's hot dogs before?
no, like I haven't even had a Burger King burger in like what 4 years now. Um, they're like their hot dogs look like toy hot dog.
Shit.
Like if you bought one of those dog chew toys that's shaped like a hot dog, that's what Burger King hot dogs look like.
I'm a little
Uh,
squeamish about eating like cause it looks like one of those like ballpark Frank hot dogs. It tastes horrible, and man, you gotta have a good quality hot dog for me to enjoy,
it has to
like a
snap
Vienna
when you
beef.
bite into it.
Yeah, exactly, like a Vienna beef Frank or something like that.
Yeah, that's one of the things I miss not eating beef is like a good hot dog because they don't make really good like I've had some turkey hot dogs that plump when you cook them that are good, but most of them are just like little thin like dinky hot dogs that just have no
Little,
real juice to them. It's just like
little
okay, they
flaccid
just
hot dog
yeah yeah. Nobody likes a limp hot dog. Get better, turkey producers of America.
based in
Uh,
Iraq.
yes, I want my hot dog standing at attention. Are you are you? Is that your hot dog, or are you just happy to see me? Um. Anyway, I'm just I'm really pulling back on the fast food recently. It's just like this. I want something that
Yeah,
tastes real. Like I've been getting a lot of sub sandwiches recently.
finally, after all these years, you want real food.
Yeah, it's like now I just want like a turkey sub with Swiss cheese. That's what I want.
Mm.
Um,
I want a meal, damn it.
yeah, it's my stomach and I wanted food. Uh, anyway,
So, are you sad that the iPod, pretty much all the iPods, the Nano and the Shuffle are dead? Apple has stopped making them.
the only thing that could possibly mean for me is a deal, and that's all I'm all about is deals. Some I'm the best with deals. I make the best deals. You have to see my hand motions. I'm doing little baby hands. Anyway,
So,
so
would you
maybe
want to
that's the
buy them?
benefit. Like I have an iPod that, uh, according to my wife, the battery life isn't long enough. It keeps dying on her when she's out. Uh, but like I'm looking for a new one. So maybe now that they're discontinued, they'll be cheaper on Amazon.
But
But
like, how long? They won't be updated, and I don't know if they'll last.
were they updated in the first place? Like when was the latest iteration of the iPod? Like I remember when I used to watch the whatever the WWDC whatever the Apple premiere events or whatever, they used to talk about okay, here's the newest Mac and here's the newest development with the iPad and here's the iPhone and by the way, there's an iPod Touch that's got some of the stuff that the phone has. And then they stopped doing that. So like after that point, I just figured like, oh, it's dead because I have heard no mention of the iPod in years now. So like this official announcement doesn't sound like any news to me really.
Apparently, in the movie Baby Driver, the main character uses an iPod.
Okay. That's when you really knew. It's like, oh, I remember that. Hey, only 2000s kids would know what this is. Yeah, I still use an iPod sometimes, although for the most part, like listen to streamed music, or I just don't listen to music at all because I'm rather listen to a podcast. So, um, I'm not
I think
really in the market for this anymore for myself.
I think mine is like dusty somewhere in some bin.
Yeah, I had mine in my bag for a while. Then I was like, hey, I have an iPod in my bag. Let me listen to it. And then it was like, oh, it's dead. So anyway,
My iPhone that I'm using, that's it's pretty much my iPod now.
yeah, it's
It
just like
serves all the purpose.
yeah, if you have or for us people who have expandable storage, and for any Android users, like just throw whatever you want to listen to on an SD card and
120 gigabytes.
yeah, just throw it on an SD card and put it in your phone. Now you have an iPod.
Yeah, and
So
that's the reason why it's dead.
yeah, or go to Spotify and you don't take up any storage. Just like, oh, just
Like I
stream it
do,
all.
yeah.
It's like,
Like I haven't bought any music in such a long time, especially anything on iTunes, man. I'm thinking probably like 6 7 years.
yeah. So it's like it is a dying situation. It's like a lot of work. Like I used to listen to podcasts. Like okay, I'm gonna download these podcasts and then drag them onto my iPod, and now I'll be on my way. It's like why put myself through that? Like for some podcasts, like for like the RBR Wrestling podcast, which is a 3 hour show on most weeks. It's like sometimes I'll have to download that because I'll lose connection and then it'll act weird on the streaming players. But it seems like they've gotten better with that, and I haven't downloaded actual podcasts in a while. So
Me neither.
there's less and less reason for even having an iPod.
I mean, they should just get rid of iTunes altogether.
That's what the one of these articles is talking about. Which, like, people still use iTunes. I think don't people buy TV shows on there? I mean, I don't
Like
do it, but I'm assuming it's that stuff's there for a reason. Like people who weren't available to get Jay Z's album on Tidal because they didn't have that exclusive, uh, that special Tidal access, or they didn't know to type Sprint into a website to get the album for free. Maybe those people they wouldn't have a place to get it if iTunes wasn't around.
it's like all the things that iTunes has, like music, movies, TV shows, podcasts,
Other people were
audiobooks,
doing that.
ringtones, yeah, apps and internet radio. You can just get that. You can just get that from other places that stream it without taking up all that space on your fucking computer or phone.
I don't feel like anybody's really come up with a good solution for apps though. I mean, I'm in the Google ecosystem, so Google Play is my source of choice, but I don't think they want to give up that app infrastructure, especially when like any paid apps they get like what 30% of it or some crazy number. Uh so I feel like they don't have an incentive to get rid of iTunes, especially when they're trying to expand and do Apple TV and their failed carpool karaoke show or whatever the situation of that is. Like I feel like it's not gonna go away. It's just gonna change course. Like, hey, maybe we're gonna not focus on the the iTunes software so much, but the iTunes as a portal to whatever our because I feel like that should be even more important in this day and age because people are gonna pull back on like buying new hardware every year, so they should probably invest in their software more in my opinion,
I,
because it's like
I,
everything's digital. So that's where they live. That's what I know Apple for is for content. Like the hardware is just like it's pushing me away. It's like I'm not gonna buy this every year.
I just hated how like iTunes just whenever you would try, it would just take up so much space on your damn computer, and it kept forcing you to like update it, and like oh you have to
Yeah, I hate
download
that.
the.
And it's like for the company that criticizes Windows so much for like, oh, you have all these updates and they're forced. It's like, well, iTunes asks me to update like every time I even try to open it.
Every time
Like,
I plug in the damn iPod into the
yeah, it's
computer.
like, and you have to update iTunes and QuickTime. It's like, why do I even have QuickTime? I don't use
Yeah.
QuickTime. And then what the hell is the damn? I don't know. This maybe this is a non. This is just a Windows thing. But what the hell is the other thing they try to have you install? The
Flash player, or what that called? The
well,
Adobe.
they want you to install QuickTime, but they also have the whatever the thing it's supposed to help you sync up your calendar and all the
Yeah,
Uh, I forget what that is, but they want you to install that. It's like I don't use that at all. Like I'm not trying to access
it's like
like
some iCloud or some
yeah, the
shit. Or...
iCloud thing. Like I'm not accessing my iCloud from my desktop unless I go to iCloud.com, and then I don't have stuff in my iCloud that I want to access on the PC. So it's just like, hey, we want to fill up all your computer with all this crap. So like I wouldn't mind if they got rid of the iTunes software itself. Like just let me go to the website and that's all I need. But you know, I
Yeah,
guess they're figuring themselves out.
yeah. I
They,
remember my iPod was such a. I had to have it with me
it was a
whenever I was out
prized
the house.
asset.
Yeah, man. All my playlist that I would just put on shuffle.
I like I think there was I'm trying to think of the last time where my iPod was really like my daily driver. Like I had to have this with me every day. Probably not since I was going to Columbia. Like I feel
Yeah,
like since that point it's just like, oh yeah, I have that thing. Yeah, because I was downloading like the Adam Carolla podcast and listening to that in studio time, and yeah, I feel like when I look back, like this shows how old the iPod is or how old my use of the iPod was. Like, oh, I had Dane Cook's album on here.
God
Let me
damn it.
get rid of that. Delete. Um, but yeah, so long iPod. Hopefully
Mm.
I'll get you for a deep discount.
Yeah, you've gone the way of the Walkman and the CD player.
Yeah, remember when Walkman tried to come back? Like, hey, iPod's popular, and we have a brand that we could really bring into this new millennium. It's like, yeah,
Was it like
actually no.
an MP3 thing or
Yeah, I
something?
think
Or...
they tried to do an MP3 player, but it's just like nobody ever got any market share over the iPod. And then it just like, and then the entire industry of MP3 players like, you know what? We're dead now. So we're not even gonna try anymore. Because I got a Samsung MP3 player. It was like their equivalent of an iPod Touch, which basically meant it was a Samsung phone without the phone functionality, and I really liked it. And then it was instantly discontinued after I bought mine.
all those damn those MP3 players that they came out with, those all those companies,
Yeah,
those sort of those iPod knockoffs, like what was the guy the Zune
yeah.
that never caught.
The cause
If you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy Part Two,
yeah, like here's a new thing. It's called a zoo. I think I had an MP3 player that I got from Fry's Electronics when I
yeah,
visited my aunt in Las Vegas, and it was like right around the time or like right before the iPod, and it was a great MP3 player, and it actually had FM radio at the very beginning of the trend. It was like
FM
iPod
tuner.
never really got into that mode except for with the like one of the more recent nanos, but like
I
I
think
was
mine had like an FM thing on it.
yeah, so it's just like just give me FM radio, then it would be more useful because it's like you know what, I don't feel like loading up, downloading music and then loading it up onto this MP3 player. Let me just turn on the radio. Sometimes
Yeah,
that's all you want. But
I remember like I had like a CD player. Like in the late '90s, I had like an AM FM radio on it that I thought was like the greatest thing
yeah, that's like
ever.
modern technology. I'm still fascinated by the fact that my Android phone has that. Like, awesome! I can just listen to the radio. Great. I don't have to make a decision because it's like the equivalent of why some people don't cut the cords. Like, I don't know what to watch. Just show me something. It's like, you know what? I'm in the mood for sound. Let me just hear what sounds are being played on the radio right now. Anyways,
Anyway, so
speaking of not making decisions, Netflix didn't give you a decision in what they got rid of going
uh,
forward this into this next month of August.
yeah, man, the fucking Justice League and Justice League Unlimited is going away, man. It pisses me off.
I hate when they get rid of series. It doesn't make any sense to me because like that's what in my opinion, that's what Netflix is all about. It's like, hey, you want to watch this series from beginning to end? Just come to it whenever you want. It's like, actually, we're getting rid of it. Like, I
Yeah.
was watching Ultimate Spider-Man on Netflix, and it's just like, oh, it's not here anymore. Like, well, that sucks.
Ooh.
Trying to catch up to the Miles Morales era, and it was like, you know what? We're not waiting for you. Goodbye.
Yeah, you got until Tuesday to watch the entire runs of Justice League Unlimited, and Babe Winkleman's Outdoor Secrets 2014 quarter 4.
What the hell is that?
Some outdoor fucking fishing show.
I'm surprised it made it onto Netflix in the first place. Um,
The Spoils of Babylon season 1 is leaving on the 6th.
Wait,
American
season
Dad.
one? Why would you get rid of? So do they have the second season? This
I assume that's just one season. And I don't know why that's
because
season 1.
I guess it was a different name. I forgot what the second season. It was Spoils of Babylon, and
They had a second season.
yeah, it was the one about jazz. I mean, it has a
I
different
just
name.
remember the Toby Maguire Christian Wick thing.
Yeah, and then the second one was I think it was Kristen Wiig again, and then it was Haley Joel Osment with his huge head,
Head.
and Michael K. Williams. Uh,
Oh, I vaguely remember that. Okay.
yeah, I think it has a different name though. I forgot what the name of that season was, but it was another. What is it? Was his name Daniel John Rosh or something? John Rosh. Anyway,
American Dad is leaving on the 15th.
good riddance.
Revenge. Yeah, exactly. Revenge is leaving on August 28th. All the seasons 1 through 4. And here's a
All
bigger one.
right.
On August the 30th, on the end of the month, The League, seasons 1 through 7
I
is leaving.
tried to get stay. I watched the league maybe for 3 seasons. How long does that show go? Is this
Pretty much the same. I watched like the first couple of seasons, and I got kind of sick of it.
yeah? Because just like there's nothing really happening. Oh, here's a football player. I don't care about football, so I realized like, why am I watching the show?
And that one character, the Jason Mantzoukas character, her the dumbass
Yeah,
brother-in-law, they got so fucking annoying. Taco, fucking stupid.
yeah. I never got the taco thing. It's just like it's a stupid character. Um,
All the
yeah,
bullying on like Andre, the fucking Paul Shear character. I was like tiresome.
yeah. Yeah, so I won't miss that at all. That was one of those shows like I don't I like to I'm a completionist, but I was just like, you know what? I'm getting off this train. Like I don't understand why I'm still doing this. Like another one of those shows. I didn't consciously do it, but I feel like I might be getting to that point with Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's like I've watched I don't know,
Damn,
maybe
show's been on for like 20 years.
yeah, I've watched like 8 seasons at least, and then it was just like, you know what? Sometimes I get to an episode, I'm like, wait, is this a rerun? And then they'll reference the fact that like we've done this before. It's like, wait, why? Then why am I watching it?
And
Because
like that doesn't make it better or clever that they're mentioning the
no,
fact that they've done something
because
before.
it's like I think they have like two incidences of like who's who's Dee's baby's father. It's just like, wait a minute, this feels like a rerun. Um. Anyway,
As for movies, the first 10 Things I Hate About You is leaving. Babe, Pig in the City.
damn, the Babe
Uh,
duology is disappearing.
Zach and Miri Make a Porno.
I didn't know that was on there. I like that movie.
On August the 4th, Superbad's leaving.
All right.
Let's see here. Dope is leaving on August the 10th.
Jesus Christ! I just made it under the wire. Thank God.
Kill a Mockingbird is leaving on the 15th.
All right.
Yeah. And that's
It's weird
that's
that they
really
do movies like in the middle of the month. You know, like you know what? I'm getting rid of this on the 9th. It's like,
yeah.
why not just like wait till midnight on the first and just sweep it clean?
Yeah, like movies like Malibu's Most Wanted and the Lizzie McGuire movie that's leaving on the first.
I think I saw Malibu's Most Wanted again, like on television, like a couple days ago. Anyway, all right,
My
that's it
condolences.
for what's leaving Netflix. Um, speaking of leaving, I think uh, we are about at the time where I might want to wrap up. Is there anything important you want to hit on before we close out the show?
Uh, I have a story about the Outback Steakhouse being at the center of a bizarre controversy, a
all,
theory,
all right.
conspiracy theory.
What is this theory? Is
Okay,
it like the pizza place pedophile ring thing?
well, some guy, a recent deep dive by a Twitter user into the restaurant chain's location has the internet raising some eyebrows. The tweet has been retweeted over 100,000 times and has started an intense investigation into the real intentions of the popular steakhouse. So
Okay.
apparently, like the layout of Outback's locations in several cities bear an eerie resemblance to a pentagram, a symbol used within Wiccan practice and in ancient cultures, but is also associated with the practice of Satanism in the U.S. They have like a map here of like various Outback Steakhouse locations, and like the way that they're formatted is formatted into like a pentagram.
So it's not about building availability or space. They're just like, we're going to make a coordinated effort to make sure all of our locations are in a strategic place so that we can raise the beast, the goat headed one himself,
Those
uh,
the blooming onions.
the great blooming onion below. Uh, so there's going to be a giant blooming onion that opens up in between those points, and then our Dark Lord will return. Uh, I'm sure Seth Rollins will be really happy about that because that's another conspiracy theory among wrestling fans is that he's a Satanist because they look at like the symbols on his. I think he has his own clothing company and like some of his wrestling gears. Like they feel like it's very devilish. Uh,
Well, his wasn't like one of his ex girlfriends or something was like wearing like the Nazi
I
paraphernalia.
think it's
Had
something like that.
Twitter.
Yeah. So I don't put much stock into these conspiracy theories. Although I think Seth Rollins' most recent shirt has just like fire on it. So maybe he's learned a few things from Kane. Um, yeah, I
Yeah,
I think Outback Pentagram conspiracy is a good place to wrap up. What do you think?
yeah. I've never been to. I've always wanted to go to Outback
I
Steakhouse. It
I
sounds
used to
good.
go as when I was younger. It's nothing special,
Oh,
especially
really?
being a person who doesn't eat steak anymore. There's absolutely zero reason to step foot in one of those restaurants now.
How are the blooming onions? Are they pretty much just onion rings?
Pretty much, if you like dipping your onion rings in like a Thousand Island type sauce, then you're in for a treat. Do not take it home though. It does not keep.
Oh, I bet.
Not
Oh,
even one day.
cold onion
It
rings.
is a mushy mess if you try to microwave it. But uh, with that thought, where can people get in touch with you on the social medias if they want to share their blooming onion sauce recipes with you?
You will be blocked. My Twitter handle is at Anthony Hoffman. You can find me on Facebook, Anthony Hoffman, and on Instagram, Tony Hoffman Chai, Tony Hoffman CHIS.
And I am on the Twitter at Zach Reviews. That's ZAC Reviews. I'm on Facebook at Zach Hughes. I'm on YouTube at Zach Hughes, both ways spelled ZAC Hughes. And you can follow the podcast on twitter.com/frustratedgrad. You can find us on Facebook at just search the Frustrated Grad Podcast. You can find us on YouTube and see the lovely video version of this podcast by going to youtube.com/frustratedgrads. And you can check out the audio version by going to iTunes if it still exists, Google Play Podcasts, and wherever podcasts are sold, as well as going to frustratedgrad.com. If you like the show, go to the maybe soon to not exist iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. And if you really like the show, go to frustratedgrad.com, click the PayPal button, and throw us a dollar or two. Anyway, with that, I will say thanks for watching. If you're watching on YouTube or any other video platform that I decide to upload this on, thanks for listening if you're listening to the audio. And that's all you get for today.